And I would imagine with that wild, wild west nature of the internal side of campus, at UNCC, you're a fast-growing campus on top of that. Second largest enrollment in the state now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah?
Yeah. We'll be number one soon.
There we go. You're not competitive at all, Rachel. But with that fast-growing environment, I would imagine there's also fast-growing hiring happening on campus, and then with that comes, I use this vendor at my old school, right? My uncle's a screen printer, and an alumni wants to work with us. How do you manage those conversations in that fast-growing environment on campus?
So this is what I do. I tell them that we have vendors that we've already vetted through. They've already gone through the process. And, we want to use our vendors that have already partnered with us, that actually have supported the university, and we know what they can provide. And I know mom and pop can do all kinds of stuff, but we also don't know where the materials came from. We don't know what kind of work that they are doing or who they're using or anything like that. So we really don't know anything about them. But the vendors that we have now, we have vetted them through. We work with CLC. You guys are great vendors or partners for the university. And we know what you are able to do. And it's not fair to bring on somebody else when we have a partner who actually can already do the merchandise or designs or whatever. So we want to use who we have and give them a chance and go from there. Now, we do bring on new ones if it's something that we don't have or something a little bit different or what have you. But we want to make sure that we're giving our partners who have already invested in us time to actually do the merchandise. Because it's only fair because we know they invested in us, so we need to invest in them as well.
Well, thank you. That's amazing to have that backing and that understanding from a vendor relationship standpoint. But I think you hit on an interesting topic. You talk about bringing on new brands, new vendors. You got two different pots usually on a college campus, the internal and then the retail side. Mm-hmm. On the retail side, I would imagine there are more people knocking on the door and trying to get into bring their brand, co-branded with UNCC, into the retail space. What goes into that process for you?
So we work with CLC on that as well, and a lot of times they'll go to CLC first, but then also go to us. And so when they come to us, we look to see what they provide, what kind of style they're working with, what they sell, what they represent. And sometimes it's not always a good fit for us. You don't want to just have your stuff out there just to have it out there. We could very easily do that, but it's not worth it if it's going to be bad quality. And we also want to know if there's something that's not the quality that the person expects. So when we're doing the retailers, we want to make sure we get in with reputable retailers that we trust. And we have a lot of local retailers that we use that sell Charlotte merchandise.
Sure.
And so we're looking to see how they treat their customers also. And
a benefit of them being local, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and as well as our internal vendors, we, they work directly with the departments. And so we want to make sure that they're treated correctly, see how we can improve upon any kind of relationships. Everybody's going to make a mistake every once in a while, but we look to see how and what they do before we actually bring them on board.
So one of the questions I always get is, what's the hottest, what's the newest, what's the coolest? So when you're thinking about the retail spaces, is that something you factor? And what do you think in, I don't know, say the past 2 years, what's the coolest thing that you've licensed for UNC Charlotte?
Oh my gosh. The coolest thing that we've licensed so far.
So I know one that you talked about, and this really wasn't retail, but don't you have like one of the suits that the NASCAR people?
Oh, yes. Okay. So the people that are in the NASCAR, the racing world, they will greatly appreciate this, and I have a new appreciation for them now. So we had a UNC Charlotte grad from 2024 who actually is in the racing world. And so we branded his truck and his fire suit with UNC Charlotte branding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is very cool, and learned a lot about it. I wasn't from the racing world, and so it was very interesting information to learn. And the guy, very, very, very nice, very humble. His name is Lane. He's wonderful. He, like I said, he's a graduate of UNC Charlotte from 2024. He also did motorsports at UNC Charlotte. He is one of the nicest people that you will ever meet. But this past May, we had the opportunity to work with him and brand his truck and his fire suit, and we took pictures of him. He did a lot of advertisement for the university. And that was actually one of the first experiences I've ever had with the racing world or anybody dealing with the racing. And it was actually, that was probably the coolest thing other than wrapping my F-250. But no, to have somebody who is out there in the world representing UNC Charlotte on a larger scale was very impressive.
I mean, that's just cool. There's no other way to say it. It's just cool.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing about going through the process you went through, like understanding like these fire suits and how technical, like it was really cool to just listen to.
Well, and I think that's what makes licensing and branding fun is you find these ways that the brand can be intertwined into lifestyle. And, you know, to your point, you're learning all about racing because of the opportunity to license the goods. I love that. I think anytime these worlds can collide and you learn something about something that maybe you're not naturally following.
The expert on.
Yes.
Right. I mean, the worlds collide on a regular basis and you just don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you learn something new all the time.
Well, I can imagine, Rachel, you've been now 7 years into licensing director, among the other roles and functions you oversee. But in the licensing lens, how have you kind of crafted and shaped the licensing program to what it is today versus when you first came in?
So when I first got to Charlotte, I didn't have much of a licensing background. I knew about it, but didn't really understand what was involved until I got to Charlotte. And by going through the seminars, conferences, meeting our partners, understanding what they work or what they go through, it helped me have a better understanding of how we needed to handle licensing on the university campus. And one of the things was actually trying to buckle down and trying to get our partners on campus to understand that we need to protect our brand a lot better than what it had previously been. And not to say that it wasn't, but I mean, to get them to have a better understanding. Not everybody understands why you need to protect a brand or what you're doing with it and why it is important. They think it should be shared with everybody.
Sure.
And that's not the case. You don't want your brand on something that's derogatory or anything like that. So it's helped shape the fact that we have more people on board with using licensed vendors, going through the process correctly, understanding that not just anybody can produce the merchandise with the marks. Yeah. And they have a better appreciation for what licensing actually stands for the most part. And getting to know some of our vendors, because I'll be honest with you, working with our vendors is actually what helped me with licensing, because I actually understood more about how licensing worked on their side of it, and I could relate it to the university side, because there is so much that is to learn about licensing. It's not just a one-page thing. You have to learn about how the merchandise is made, where it comes from, why it's important to figure out what the materials are from, and making sure everything's done correctly.
Yeah.
And with our partners, they actually educated me on how they did it, why they did it a certain way, why it was important to have things done in a process, in a certain manner. And so that actually helped me when it came to the university side to help gauge and gear everybody a certain way when it comes to ordering or making sure the marks are done a certain way, and can relay to our customers why things are done the way they are. And that's helped a lot of other people understand the licensing aspect of it. And people on campus are more aware that they have to go through a licensed vendor versus just somebody off the street.
Yeah. Oh, it's great insight. And I think you look at LDs that maybe are getting started in the roles. Got a few calls recently with folks that are in that first year, second year, and they're trying to navigate, these waters of, well, I'm walking into something that maybe didn't have this position filled for a while.
Right.
And there's just a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's actually what happened to me when I first got there. The person had been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And so one of my other coworkers was doing the job, and he was explaining to me licensing. Fortunately, he had a licensing background. And so he was wonderful to work with and to learn from, to give me a better understanding of how I needed to take the program by the reins and hopefully gear it in a positive way.
You mentioned learning from your vendors was one of the more impactful things as you got started. How did you learn from your vendors? What did that look like?
I called them. And so,
Love it.
Yeah, I called them, and then they were on campus. And literally, if I had a question, I was calling like our local vendors. Yeah. And one of our local vendors is Promologic. I actually, they were right down the road from us, and they knew I was brand new.
Yeah.
And so there was no denying that. And they were cordial and nice. They were understood where I was coming from. I had a question, and they could tell me what it was. And so to have those relationships with our partners helps tremendously for the licensing, like with Club Colors. I can call you guys and ask a question, and I know it's going to be the right answer. You're not going to steer me the wrong way. And it helps to know you have that relationship with your partners. You're not just vendors.
Yeah.
You are actually partners, and you help us. And, hopefully we're helping to get you guys out there. And
I love that, because that's what, internally we say that all the time, that we want to be partners of the brand and an extension of that licensing team. But that's exactly what we pride ourselves on, is trying to provide that level of expertise to help our LD partners bring resources to campus at the end of the day and understand what is available to you already under the license that's already issued.
I think we hold a piece of the puzzle that sometimes isn't readily available. When you think about our production downstairs, you guys have amazing designs, great things are coming in. A lot of times those things are just digital. We're able to put it into the real space for you. We're able to do, those pre-production. We're able to do sew-outs. So we kind of fill a piece of the puzzle that I think is very needed. But you said something that was so true. I started as a buyer in the collegiate world, and it was Jim Quasney, who at the time was the local representative for Champion, who taught me licensing. So the licensing director on campus was amazing and very helpful, but he literally sat with me through an entire buying session, and that's how I learned, this is what licensing is, making sure you're choosing the designs, the things that mesh with the mission, with the brand of the university. So I think that every little player in that part, we're all doing some pieces of that education together.
Oh, definitely. I mean, one can't do it by themselves, and you can't learn without the other. So if we didn't have the partners, it would just not work, period.
Yeah. Now, you also have a couple of other responsibilities beyond licensing, bookstore and auxiliary services. If you put on your bookstore hat for a second, how do you go and plan for overseeing a bookstore operation, and what goes into that?
So I oversee the relationship between the university and Barnes & Noble, and I have a great management team with Barnes & Noble. Sherry, I depend on her quite a bit. I've worked with the Barnes & Noble and the bookstore since 2006.
Okay.
And it is it's necessary to have a great working relationship with them. Otherwise, it does not work, period. So you have to put on your thinking cap like I did today and switch things over. But it's actually all still related. You're trying to make sure that you get to the customer what they need. You're making sure that the bookstore is actually taken care of, understanding both sides.
Yeah.
Because you're playing in both fields, unfortunately, at times. And it's very important that you have somebody in the management area that you can rely on, that understands it. And that's what I have. I mean, when I came on board at Charlotte, I had worked with different managers at the previous university. And the manager who's now at Charlotte, Sherry, she has been there for a long time, and she's very knowledgeable. She makes sure that things are taken care of, I can depend on her to not mess us up.
Yeah.
Because she knows how important it is. She understands the mission of the university. She knows what we need. She strives to make sure it's taken care of. We have a merchandise manager as well, Abby, who helps make sure things are taken care of. She goes to bat for us when it comes to the buyers. She pushes when I push and helps make sure that we're taken care of. So you have to make sure you have that great relationship, and you have to make sure that you're switching hats when you need to make sure that you understand what's going on.
And I would imagine, you know, with that bookstore, we see it oftentimes where it tends to be a hub on campus. Mm-hmm. Is that the case at UNCC, where it is maybe centrally located, or is it more off campus? Do you host events in there?
Yeah, we do. So we have the bookstore is located in the Pop Martin Student Union, and we host events in the bookstore several times a year. I host at least 3 times a year. And then now they've started hosting like companies to come on campus and have events.
Are these companies looking to hire UNCC students?
They're looking to hire UNC students, UNC Charlotte students. They're looking to help the students understand more about the business. We have different companies that just want to come on campus to get in front of the students, to let them know what they're all about. It helps educate them.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's been a great space. It's not just a bookstore to where you buy merchandise or books. Yeah. It actually is we have a social hub in there, and we use that to actually try to get people in there to meet as much as possible.
I love that. Yeah. Using the brand and the bookstore to bring people together.
Exactly. And it will also encourage them to buy stuff.
Yes.
That never hurts.
No.
When you look at the auxiliary then function of what you do, I think that's always an interesting category in a campus setting, because they often oversee all sorts of different random things.
Yes.
When you look at, you know, how you're able to navigate the different personalities there, what goes into making sure the auxiliary side is also on the same page as far as branding and the bookstore, and because oftentimes they're going to be supporting that function.
Yeah, they are supporting the function. So we have several personalities. We have to work with different things. And our auxiliary services team is actually really good. I have Rick and Jody on my team. They were there when I started at Charlotte. They're the main reasons why I'm there. Because I'll be honest with you, I stalked UNC Charlotte before I came to UNC Charlotte.
Did your research?
I did my research. That's what it was. Yeah.
Stalking research.
It's the same thing. So anyway, and they're a great group to work with. And so we do talk quite a bit, and I express my feelings about things. And so they know how to reel me back in when I need to be reeled back in about, you know, not everything meshes well sometimes. And so when you're trying to work together, it's great that you have the personalities like I do with Rick and Jody to make sure that we can actually mesh everything well and get it to working correctly. And they will actually help push certain things that I need pushed. They work with me quite a bit when it comes to my functions with the bookstore or with licensing. They're very supportive. And then we try to be supportive of each other's area. So that way when we have discussions about certain things that we need to be addressed, we have a mutual understanding of where we're all coming from. So that way we want to make sure that we have a good relationship going forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And I think you're in a unique spot where you touch all these different functions through your actual title. But beyond that, you're also helping all the school loves and the community at large. But when you reflect back at all the different pockets of campus that you're working with, across the UNCC brand, whether it's directly or just through the licensing aspect of it, what are some of the moments you're most proud of through the years?
So one of the things I was proud of is actually when we introduced the College Vault program back in 2018. It was 2018.
And that's like retro marks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vault program.
Yes. We built out a dorm room in the bookstore to kind of introduce the Vault marks. That was actually pretty cool. I was very proud of the rollout of the university marks, athletic marks, how that went well, considering everything that could have made it go bad. It actually went really well. And introducing programs like that, getting merchandise out. Like we have another vendor that or partner that's coming on board that has come on board with us that we're actually going to roll out in July 4th. It's Homefield. And we've been wanting Homefield for a long time, and they're actually working with us to come roll out their new.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great to have that kind of excitement going out to actually have a program or a product that, the people have been wanting for a while.
Yeah.
And to get it out there. And so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to right now.
I love that. I think that's anytime you can get that excitement around the brand, again, going back to making sure that the brand is representing the institution and how you can work with your vendors and your other sub-brands to make it exciting. That's great.
Yeah, and one other things I will say this, though. I'm excited about College Colors Day because you guys gave me the idea of how to deck it out, and I'm really excited about what to show. I won't show or talk about it right now because it's going to be on social media.
You will have the best College Colors Day out there for sure. I can't wait to see this in the fall.
And I'm going to win an award from CLC for best, event marketing.
100%.
Yeah.
Sounds like it might be a topic discussion at ICLA next year, too.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio today. Always great to hear from our experts in the licensing space how you're navigating the waters on campus, how you're looking at the brand at large, and more than anything, you're always welcome to come back in the club.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate it. I will say this one more thing. Just so everybody knows that it's very important for us to actually see our partners, our vendors on a regular basis because it makes us feel better about how things are working. So if anybody is wondering, please go visit.
Come on over.
Yes.
We'll do
definitely.
a tour. Maybe we'll hop on a podcast together. Would love to have all of our friends come visit.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks.